Babu asks, why is there the racism? Why does it have to be so? Racism was always there. It was always present. It must have started from the fear of the unknown that humans were bound to live with. Thousands and thousands of years ago, while humans were in the wild, the fear of the unknown was rational, and it was lived like that for millions and millions of years until humans discovered internet and worldwide communication. Then people started seeing each other and knowing that they are all alike, that humans flower wherever they flower in the same manner, and the emotions, angers, all the expressions and all the emotions of human existence is similar. Then people started traveling. Then tourism became a new thing. And with the access of internet and a whole world as a small globe, a small village, we were able to learn about so many stories and so many narratives that the modern generation, that the new generation, the millennial generation started discovering that all humans are indeed alike. And yet it exists in many different forms, in little forms, in big forms. In the recent incidents that happened in Nepal and the USA, racism exists in many different forms because it is very much deeply rooted into the psyche of the society, the root of the society. And like a human being has certain age to live in this existence, the society has also certain age to live in this existence. A society is slightly an older being. This concept is taken as Kula Devata, the god of the genealogy in the East, that it goes directly to the form from where it was first started to spread, and hence similar phenomenon of mind, similar phenomenon of body all around the world. Even though people did not have access, all around the world people were facing some form of social discrimination, social racism, and this always has been a structure of the society. Only recently is that the world has started to change. The world has started to become a global center. The knowledge has been sharing all around the world. And like the law of the Yuga says, probably this is the moment that the Yuga is changing. The bigger story is like a human lifetime. A civilization also has a lifetime. It is a very old being, but yet it has a lifetime. Some civilization lives for 10,000s of years, some live for a few thousand years, and like that they vanish. Civilizations are greater stories. Civilizations are deeper beings, just like humans. So, as a human takes time to grow, as a human child takes time to grow, as a human child is unknown and with not knowing, fears and has anger and has down feeling, a state of dissonance in them. And just like that, society is just now trying to see. We are now so open at this age that we are being able to talk about anything we want, and we call it freedom of speech. And this has let humans a platform an opportunity to express themselves as their heart wills. And now, the movement all around the world. Now, the riots all around the world. This is the story. This is a vantage point from where this story is seen. Now, if we carefully analyze the cycle of human emotions, there is a certain pattern of anger coming in and love coming in. Just like the cycle in the female body and female psychology, also men have similar kind of psychology, similar kind of experience. This psychological experience rotates according to the state of the moon, which is why it is also called the moon cycle. If one is able to see and realize the pattern of one's moon cycle, which is totally different from anyone else in the planet, then slowly the flow of emotion from high, from happiness to low, towards sadness and towards anxiety, it is seen clearly. And once this is seen, the state of this flow happens in a curve. While there is low state in the curve, one is angered easily by anything. While the energy is low in the body, one is angered easily by anything. While one is hungry, he is easily angered by anything. And now, this is exactly what is happening all around the world. People are hungry. There is no job, there is no income, there is no economic flow. People are forced to stay inside or they die with the virus. And of course, people choose virus because they don't want to die with hunger. They don't want to die inside the cage that has become their own home, or say the home that has become their own cage. So people are upset, people are hungry, people are locked in, people are upset, and they want to express. Like this, there is always a cycle of conflict towards a certain moment of peace, towards a certain period of conflict, and then again a certain period of peace. Exactly like the state of the mind in each person is the state of the societal mind, the mass mind, or say collective unconscious. The state of collective unconscious is such that there is this cycle of low and high in certain time pattern, and these seem to correspond with the cycle of the earth's own cycles. Like it has been past few hundred years that there was a global pandemic that killed many people. Just like 2020, there was something in 1920 and something in 1820 and something in 1720. So it seems that there is a bigger cycle of this kind of phenomenon in this planet. So there is this 11-year cycle of sun, and that people call this event solar mass ejection, where the dark side of the sun is faced towards the earth, in which huge amount of sun's plasma leave the star and head towards the earth. And when it happens, the consciousness of the being changes, the whole planet responds with a zing. The whole planet experiences such phenomenon as a zing, as an experience, as a moment. And now we are facing such moment. Like one is same who experiences the lowness of life and experiences the highness of life, and is able to become witness of both of these states. it is equally able for a person to dive from personal such cycle of consciousness to collective such size of type of consciousness. Personal consciousness is highly guided by the collective consciousness, which is why in a crowd, if somebody starts throwing stones, everyone out of fear will start throwing stones. This is the collective mind. This is the hive mind working. And hive will do anything to protect itself. And the hive mind of the police will do the same. The hive mind of the protesters will do the same. And they'll both try to protect themselves in any way. And hence the conflict grows. It never stops. Unless one side realizes what is going on. So this is collective subconscious. And collective subconscious is guided by cosmic subconscious. So cosmic subconscious is called Brahma Chetan in Sanskrit. The whole that is unconscious. And it guides all the unconscious actions of entire planet, entire system that surrounds this physical matrix. And civilizations grow at the moment it is in the phase of growing. And it corresponds with the idea of yugas, which says that we are already cross Kali Yuga and now are running in the beginning of Dwapar Yuga. So this is a transition phase that happens. And this was also brought up, this was also seen in the work of Ama Dolores Cannon. As a hypnotherapist, she worked with thousands of patients and through her work gathered information from all the people, from the subconscious of all of her patients. And in those accounts, it is also said that there is a cycle that goes on. And at the moment there is going to be a wave all around the planet, and the wave will permanently change the way we live, we think, we act in the planet. Some of the channelers, some of the meditators have started calling this a fifth dimension. However, be it the rising of Dwapar Yuga, be it fifth dimension, be it ascension, the ride upwards towards the consciousness is going on. It is clearly seen. Because people are creating things such as artificial intelligence, which has an intuition of its own to win in the game of Go. It can definitely win a chase, it can win in the Go, it can predict many things. It has become a new god for our civilization. And AI is also thought as the Kalki avatar. The all-seeing, the all-knowing, all-encompassing. It knows everything, it can predict everything. It can create anything a human wants to create or the AI itself wants to create. So it will become a new god. So the structure of the civilization goes on changing. And right now, the consciousness has just started dropping its jungle nature, the forest man nature, and started coming into the heart. It has not become so much that majority of humans started not wanting war or It has been more than 50 years of the two world wars. And people realized they should not be fooling around with these things. And the World War was not just happening in the time they happened. The war was planned, the tension was built, and it burst at some point. Then the energy was released. Then again, people wanted to live in peace. They enjoyed peace until the shadows were gathered again, until the repressions were gathered again. And it is a natural phenomenon. It is a bigger cycle that happens in this cosmos. So, slavery has been always there in this civilization, the history of this civilization. This global civilization, the history of this global civilization has slavery always in their books, in their stories. Now, it is just recently that a lot of countries, many countries all around the world, at least abolished slavery in their constitutions. The first democracy was in Athens, but that was not the democracy that we are enjoying at the moment. It was different, a strict democracy. Now we have a little more free democracy. And unless each and everyone is able to see the cycle, the personal cycle, the collective cycle, the cosmic cycle that goes on, it is impossible for the racism to stop. Only if you see that there is the cycle that goes down, that comes up, that goes down, and you are constantly witnessing all the going down and coming up. There's something that changes around you, but you are constantly there. And constantly here and now in each of these experiences. So this, which is always present, is in the meridian, in the center, and from it passes everything, which means this being is not in the height or in the lows. It is not high, it is not low. It is always in the center, it is always witnessing. And it knows that the anger is there because there was a certain cycle within. The anger is there because its presence is there. Something triggers it. Maybe the cycle, downcoming cycle, maybe someone scolding you, someone talking nonsense about you. And also, if someone says something wrong, something stupid about you and you feel anger, you should be already in the downfall of the cycle. Because in the uprising, you do not care. Whether someone says something wrong about you, something scolds you or tries to harm you, you don't care. Because you are in the mood, because you are fresh, you're going up in the cycle. So you can distinguish where you are with daily activities. There are various ways to witness the passing of the cycle. And once the cycle is seen, you are not in the cycle. The cycle is just there, present. And from there you realize all of your fears, all of your angers are not yours. It's part of the cycle of this existence. And yet you are a witness there too. And when you are a witness in this cycle, then this cycle becomes conscious. If your cycle of the subconscious is known, the subconscious becomes the conscious. you are given access to it. And likewise, it goes up to the collective, and it goes up to the cosmic. And the experience in the cosmic form is, I am that, I am. And even the world was less moving earlier than now, or it seems so. The experience of I am that I am has been recorded all over the world. In Nepal they said, Aham Brahmasmi. I am that, I am. Unless one is able to come here and realize that one is everything, or say there is another way, unless one comes to the terms that he actually does not know anything which he does not, because everything is gathered in his mind, in her mind, as a human being, as a growing up as a human being, because names were important to survive, to live in the society, identification were important, stories were important, and that had shaped the modern society up to now, up to the point where we were able to reach to Mars or even outer part of the solar system. So we were able to do that. But unless the story is seen, unless the unknown is realized, that we actually do not know from where everything starts and from where everything ends, and actually we do not know who we were before we were given a name, and we actually do not know where we are going, and actually nobody knows anything, and everyone is just trying in their everyday life. Everyone is flowing with their hearts, with their minds in everyday life, unknown to how the existence is existing indeed. What is the force behind the whole thing, the whole phenomenon, the whole movement? There were many people killed before, there were mass school shootings before, nobody cared. There was some news, there was some protest, then it was stopped. Now, the tensions built in many years are boiling. They are heated so much now it started boiling, and the final temperature was the lockdown. So this happened. The collective consciousness has just started recognizing each other. There was societal collective consciousness which did not know another society, which did not know another society. So there was fear of each other. Someone said, we are superior, someone said, they are superior, and the process continued all around the world. Or in the East, due to somebody who said the mouth was Brahma, or a hand was Kshatriyas, the stomach was Vaishyas, and the feet were Sudras, and these were part of God. In a mistranslation, it was literally taken and became a dismantled function of the society. So there was tension always. And the modern terminology of that would be roles. One understanding one's roles, responsibilities, simply taking one's own responsibility solves a lot of problems. Simply accepting how one is, where one is, solves the problem. But human mind requires more and more and more. So the energy builds up and ultimately turns into anxiety, violence, suicide, looting, mass murder. So the only way out is the way in. The only way is to realize one's own primary cycle that runs in the very surface of mind, which is clearly seen if wished, if tried, during the day, during the night. Which is why there are practices in Tantra which uses your own body to experience the existence, to experience the consciousness, to experience the witness. People have given different name to these experiences. There are practices in yoga, there are practices in mantra. However, yoga and mantra both are part of Tantra, which means any practice uses the body itself. So just by becoming aware of the body, little cycles of the mind are seen. The mind cycles through various stories very fast. Just a little bit of silent moment and the mind runs off with thoughts, with memories. And thoughts and memories both are stories. Memories are now stories which seems that it has happened in the past. It has happened in the past, so it is a story of the past. Because you are not in the past at the moment. You are always in the present. The thoughts of the future would be part of the imagination of the stories being created at the moment. Desires are the stories being created. So, every story has a cycle. And the collective society, the worldwide society, the global society has started seeing these cycles. So there are a lot of people who are into meditation, who are into trying to experience what this life is about, trying to know, trying to learn what this thing is about. Because people are really fed up with a lot of older systems like hierarchy based on caste, discrimination based on caste and race. It's just simply stupid. It is seen as it's just a stupid idea that existed for many, many years, only when you arrive to the center. Only when you arrive to the unknown, when you realize that you really do not know anything, then someone else is just part of the existence existing in front of you, and like you also does not know where the whole thing began and where the whole thing is going to end. And when both know that they do not know, only there the peace is possible. Otherwise it is just war and truce, then again war, then again truce, again war, again truce, and this cycle continues. There was a global world war, and before that many small wars which led to global world war. Then some countries stopped, some smaller groups continued fighting, killing people, destroying things. Just before the global pandemic even, there were wars happening. And even now in the global pandemic, there are countries fighting in the borders, there are countries blaming things at each other. So this is a global madness. So this is a global drama. And on the top of that, people do not have things to eat, people do not have money, people do not know what to do, people do not have proper guidance, people are in fear, and when people are in fear and all of these circumstances meet, people create violence, their anger erupts. And this also is part of the cycle. So to those who clearly sees the part of these cycles and sees the pattern of the planet, the syzygy of the planets, becomes silent. What can he do? He can only send good wishes to all the world. He cannot do anything. He cannot take sides because he knows both are there. Because he knows truth is there and the false is there. Somebody's truth is truth and somebody's false is also truth. That the false is there. Their false is truth and their truth is also truth. So, what can one do in this situation but love? In this situation, when two people are there is absolutely no chance of violence. Absolutely not. Both are curious to understand what the hell they are doing here. Both want to know how they got here in first place. Both want to know who they are. Because for the first time they know that they can know. They know that they can understand. For the first time knowledge is opened. And it happens once in a while for few people over the centuries. And these few people we call Buddhas, Yogi, Rishis, Christs, Krishnas, the people with awakened consciousness or fully integrated being. Once in a while it happens, and while the whole cosmos is going through the cycle, there comes a time when majority of the people will be in that state. And this is what we call shifting of the ages. And from the dark ages, from Kali Yuga, we are moving towards Dwapar Yuga. A little bit more light. And Kali Yuga is the longest, which means the next Yuga, the next stage of consciousness can grow twice as fast. The next generation can grow twice as fast. So, it will take around 200 years, at least more, to have a global peace, have a global understanding and connectedness of each other. It will happen, but it will take time. And when that happens, Dwapar Yuga will start coming to its middle ages. It's just like the wisdom that grows in a person due to various circumstances in his body, in his body-mind complex. The society learns with many samples, and we humans are the samples for societies. So I am a sample, I have a certain name, I have a certain character that is registered in a document, and that is useful because with that document I can travel, I can do my thing. So societies functions in this way, and it will take time for the consciousness to grow. Those who are already in the path will have to continue their sadhana, will have to constantly witness what is happening within them and why those things are happening. Is it because of the news feed? It is because someone said something. So this is part of shadow work, analyzing one's every emotions, witnessing one's every emotions. Only then, when anger comes towards you, the anger turns into flower. It's a beautiful metaphor, but it's true. It is poetic. Definitely when anger comes towards you, you see the anger is there, the rising of the anger, and sometimes you want to laugh. Because this is a very strange feeling. Before a moment I was just calm, nothing was happening, and all of a sudden I have anger. I'm different. I shifted. My body hurts, and there's certain feeling in the chest, around the body. Something has changed. I'm different. So this is a unique way to learn about one's own internal being. Unless that starts happening, the literature, the literary world, the literate world will continue fighting. Even the world is literate, the fight will continue, and this is continuing, it is happening. People can read, people can write, yet they are recognizing there is something more that they want to know, that they want to experience. They want to experience the existential freedom of their life, and that is only available in the here and now. And that is the only thing nobody can give to anyone. It is a personal, entirely personal experience for everybody. And therefore, anyone who has experienced it has tried to say something, tried to point towards the experience, because there's no way at all to give the experience. But the story of the experience can show the depths of one's own mind, can hit in the imagination, can raise curiosity, and curiosity starts sowing seed of the consciousness. And the very question, who am I, is a very curious question, a very tricky question. If I do not know who am I, there is no right to say that I am Brahma, or I am Kshatri, or I am Vaishya, or I am Sudra. There is no right to say anything. There is no right to say I am black. There is no right to say I am white. There is no right to say I am Chinese, I am Japanese, I am Nepali. There is no reason to say anything. And only at this point there is peace. If there is something to say, there will always be conflict. And if the conflict cannot be handled, if the conflict takes the older path of violence, then who can do anything? They will start fighting. So for the global population to reach to the collective consciousness, it is going to require some more time, and there will be global phenomenon happening. All we can do is witness. All we can do is do what feels best for us, for everybody, for the whole humanity, and not just the humanity, also for the lives of all the beings. Lives of humans are not so special as humans think, because an invisible virus can easily kill it. So it's not so special, it's just like any other animal. Humans just have become a social animal. So lives of all the animals matter. Lives of all the plants matter. Lives of entire existence matters, because nature tries to propagate life. The only thing the nature is doing is trying to propagate the life, trying to continue the life. And the life continues, the flow of life continues in this wave, up and down, the high and low. This is the universal key. This is the alchemy. Unless reached to this unknown, we're gonna need more sadhana, more patience, more loving, more kindness. And this is indeed the time for reflecting on personal loving, personal kindness, and understanding one's own terms of emotions in any case, in any condition. Because once we go back to normal lives again, our offices, our schools, colleges, our works, then there will be no time. Then the pandemic will be a history, just like the history of 1920s. It will be a history of 2020s. And it is the fate of every history to become once upon a time and slowly vanish away. And here and now is the right moment. Wherever you are, whenever you are, however you are, you can reach to here and now, and this is the only moment where there is no stories at all. All the stories are in the surface of the mind, and then in the depth of the mind there is more connecting with subconscious, the personal, the collective, and the cosmic, and between that there is here and now. There is the outer world, there is the inner world, and between that there is the here and now. Between that there is the witness that calls I within every one of us. And only that I recognizes that the I that I'm watching is also the I that is watching me, with the same not knowing, the same unknownness. Otherwise, it is the same flowering, both of us. It is the same flowering no matter which background one comes from in the world. It is the same flowering of body, the same flowering of mind, the same flowering of all the levels of psyche. And nature does not give a shit about who does what, who does racism, who kills somebody. In nature there is always something killing something. So if we look from abroad, if we look from sky, like Guru Rajneesh said, if some aliens come from another planet and watched people, they'll go crazy. People still are like monkeys, fighting with each other. People still are pissing off in the grounds and calling it my territory. So these are traits that has translated into modern societies, and the global world is trying to break that. The new generation wants to break that. The new generation wants to travel. They want to be able to live where they want to be able to live, and which is why no wonder millions and millions of Nepalese youths go abroad for study, and millions of them never return back. They want to become a global citizen. They want to explore. So, a few hundred years more, and the Dwapar Yuga will start to talk. Right now, we can see that it is just there in the corner, there in the horizon. It's coming, and in a few generations, the global consciousness will be ready for that. Until then, the stories of discrimination, the stories of someone being superior, someone being inferior, will continue. It will go on decreasing, but it will continue. And all of us who have seen the global stories, all of us who have known, who have had friends, close friends from all the backgrounds, we know that they are no different at all than us. They are capable equally. They are equally sensible as all of us. They are no different. They are just the flower that we are. A tree that apples in Nepal will also apple in Europe. It will be no different. It will not produce bananas there. So humans all around the world have same traits, same patterns. Just the global flowering requires a little more time. Then a whole lot of ancient slaveries will end. There will always be someone trying to control over someone. There will always be some negative experiences alive, because Satya Yuga, or the age of truth, or the age of enlightenment, or the golden age is not 100% golden. Some seeds for the next Kali Yuga will be there. So this is a greater story. This is a grand story. This is a grand narrative. And no matter what narrative we listen, we cannot go to that right now. We are where we are. We are how we are. We are when we are. So I see that all of us who are educated, who knows about the heart, the connection of the hearts, who knows about a global collaborative, making whole earth a living organism and not organizations, have to do a lot. They have to share love, they have to speak with each other, they have to guide a lot of people, they have to be ready for a global need of volunteers, because the change, the friction in the change is not over yet. So it is the duty of everyone who knows to share the love and try to understand the stories that is going on, and with love tell them the stories. If you have seen the global stories and the cycle of the stories, it is your responsibility to share it with love, with creativity, with examples on how you can, to the people who are still holding a lot of repressions from past generations. And these people are called light workers, shadow workers. These people are called spiritual seekers, any name. It's a global flowering that is happening. So, witness, my beloved. This much for today.